All right. Welcome to On the Sideline. I'm your host, Jeff Holden. Today we got Big O,
Your favorite guy.
Coach Evan Hearn, and special guest of our year 2 series of the 940 football preview. We got state champion in the house, Coach Seth Nolan from Wichita Christian. Welcome, Coach. And real quick, we'll just jump right into it. Why don't you give a little introduction about yourself for those who may not know?
Seth Nolan, Wichita Christian, head football, AD. Going into my 7th year at Wichita Christian, 12th year overall, coaching 6-man. Been out of 11-man for that long now, so yeah.
Very good, very good. And as you know, or as we know, we knew the outcome of this season, which was, by the way, awesome. I think you all but predicted it, told us early on last year's football preview to keep an eye out, and that we did. I had the honor of tagging along with you guys in Waco for the state championship game, which was a blast. Thanks again, by the way, for letting me tag along for that. But so again, we all know football's king in the state of Texas. Here we are, year 2, on the sideline, football preview, kicking it off with a state champion. I'm excited. I mean, I think that this has been good. Last year was such a pretty big success. And again, we thank you for being here. And I guess you guys want to just jump right into questions?
So let's start. I guess talking a little bit about last year first. Coming into the season, of course, you knew you had a great chance. You liked your odds with your team that you had. And I think for us, because every week we would talk about the games and things, and it just seems like you guys breezed kind of through the season. What was probably the most challenging game that you guys had, and where at what part of the season did you feel like, okay, we're clicking on all cylinders? I think that we have an opportunity to go all the way.
Yeah, I would have to say, I think it was Tobin asked me as soon as the game ended with the same question, when did you think y'all had it put all together? And it was after Newcastle, after we came back. And, we put those guys on our schedule for a reason last year. And, they're probably keeping us on their schedule this year for a reason. Coach Archer does a good job with those guys. But, yeah, after being down at halftime by 10 or 11, whatever it was, and the faith the guys had in us, the faith we had in them, as soon as it was over, the coaches kind of looked at each other and like, all right, who's in our way? Mm-hmm. And that's when one of my assistants, Coach Maddox, does a good job of scouting and stuff. And, by the end of that weekend, he said, it's these guys. I said, really? And he was like, yeah, we got to get through these guys, and then we'll beat these guys. And he was right.
Man, that's awesome.
So I think the game before, 2 games before state was, I think, was a big game of one of the components of the team. I call them KPA.
That's what we call them, yeah.
I think that was for me, that was the turning block, because it was a game I had circled. It was a game I was like, if they can beat this team, they have a strong chance of winning it all. And not only did you guys beat them, but you beat them pretty convincingly. So at that point, what did you guys do, I guess, leading up to that game to kind of have your boys pumped and ready to go for that game?
Yeah, it was nice. We ended the year on a bye. That's how our district coaches wanted it set up, and we just kind of rolled with it. But yeah, once KPA game came around, we had an extra week to prepare for them. Mm-hmm. And so that was nice. That was a big help. But that was one of those games Coach Maddox said, hey, this is who we're going to have to go through. And so we were prepared. Kids prepared for them for 2 weeks, but really the coaches about a month to get ready for that game. Started that game, nice little drive, went down and scored. Then their first offensive play of the game was a pick 6. Taylor Godo took it back to the house. So we were up 2 possessions kind of early, and then they started to answer. Then it was kind of a possession game there for a while. We created some more turnovers. Second half starts, Reuben Wilden takes their first play of the second half to the house on a pick six. So that was kind of our MO all year. I'd have to go back and look at the stats, but we were something like plus 30 on turnover margin. Isaac never threw a pick all year. I think he had 3 fumbles on the season. Kaysen, our quarterback, I think he threw the ball 7 times this year. He threw a pick week 1. So we were pretty good when it came to taking care of the ball and creating turnovers. But, yeah, that KPA game was huge. We didn't know it at the time. That might have been the state title game, some people say. So, but, yeah.
Yeah, and for some of the viewers and listeners that maybe not so familiar with the six-man football, you said he threw it 6 or 7 times all year. Could you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so the style we played this year, our quarterback was under center, and he would take the snap and pitch it directly back to our running back. 6-man, people call him the spread back. So he was our RPO guy, and Kaysen did a good job of taking those snaps, pitching them back, and getting his block. And the only complaint all year was actually of Isaac. He was like, "Will you tell Kaysen to go get his block and get up out of my way?" I was like, "You're too fast for him, bro. Like, what do you want him to do?" But yeah, Kaysen was a freshman, started at quarterback all year for us, started 3 years for us in junior high. And so I think we're about to move him back to running back and have another freshman quarterback get after it. But 6-man's nice because you can take the load off of those kind of players when they're freshmen. You can stick them out in an important position, and they'll do just fine if you manage them the right way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about that. Your team this past season, as you said, y'all were going to be the state champs, and you guys got it done. So as you put that now in the rear view and you focus on this upcoming season, what has been the expectation, or what's been the mantra of now this year's upcoming team?
Yeah, so we kind of started that the week after Newcastle. That's when we felt like people were starting to talk about us, and we knew it was coming around. We knew we were about to have that target on our back. I can't remember when they ranked us on sixmanfootball.com number 1, but it was around that time. And that's kind of been the thing since then is there's a target on our back. Everybody wants us. Now that summer's here, everybody's talking about payback on us. Target's still on our back. And so that's kind of been the motto all summer is people are going to be out for the revenge. We got to be ready for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, well, obviously, I guess we could ask you what your record was and stuff like that. But my big question would be, how do you replace all those seniors? Can you tell us which seniors you're losing?
Sure.
Their impact, their positions, and then maybe your plan moving forward?
Sure. Yeah, we're losing 6 of them. One guy, Colton Harris, came out and he was going to be, we had big plans for him. Then he decided he only wanted to play basketball, which was fine. Then we had a holder problem. Good as team as we were, we had a holder problem. We go up to him after week 1 and like, dude, you got to come just hold for us. But he fixed our holder problem, and that's an important role you wouldn't think about. But so that was one senior. The other one was Taylor and John Godo, brothers. Played for us for 4 years. They could kick the crap out of the ball, kick it right through the end
that's
zone
huge
every single time. It's massive, yeah. And then when you needed an onside kick, Taylor would go out there and recover his own. They're awesome. They were great. So we're losing those guys. I think y'all had Taylor as small MVP. School MVP or something like that, or 6-man defensive MVP, something like that. Yeah. 116 tackles, something like that.
And he's not that big.
I'm not gonna do it like that. He's tiny. He'll tell you that, but he's strong. He's strong.
Huge.
Yeah,
he's a strong
massive
kid.
Heart. So we're losing both of those brothers. John was all state. All these guys were all state. Sam Mactoff, nose tackle, all state. Tight end, all state. Kind of the heart and soul of our team.
Number 8?
That was number 7.
Okay.
That's the other Sam.
Oh, yeah.
So number 8, Sam DeLizio. He was Mr. kind of do-it-all. He'd catch, run.
He's a senior.
Tackle. He was a senior. Yeah, we had him for 4 years starting. And then the last one was Isaac Wilden. MVP, yeah. He was tough to catch.
So you're looking at a 6-man football, 6-man.
Oh yeah.
Those are all starters, highly.
Those are starters at a lot
contributors.
At 11-man schools.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
I'm glad you recognize that too.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, until this year, I was never big on 6-man
Sure,
football. I'll be honest, I never even went to a game.
Yeah, I think I remember
I got to
saying
go
that,
to
yeah.
a bunch of games this year, and the fast pace and the different rules is just like, I don't know. It's exciting, man.
It's fun, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of fun to watch those games. One thing that I did notice though was the importance of a kicker
Oh yeah.
in 6-man. Like you would think that you can line up and kick a field goal, an extra point, and there were 2 points.
Yeah.
There was so many kids that could not do that
Yeah.
in all the 6-man games that I watched, and Godo was perfect. I mean, and the other schools that were really good or that were very good, if you notice, they all have a good kicker.
Yeah.
And so that was one thing for me. Another thing I noticed was you guys played that little field in
The Boys and Girls
the
Club.
boys and girls. Come on,
Yeah.
these guys are state champs. It's time to upgrade their field. All right, let's do something about that.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah. So how many starters do you guys have returning? Actual returning starters, and what's going to be some of your key pieces for this upcoming season?
So we lost everybody on defense, and we've got 2 returning on offense. We had 2 freshmen start. Luke Pankenine was all-state center, second team. He's going to stay at center. And then Kaysen, we're going to move him from quarterback to running back and see what he can do there.
So he'll be able to take that option back there.
Yeah, he'll be the RPO guy. Yep.
Who's going to be some of your other up and coming guys that you guys have this season?
Yeah, so
So I know you guys had a really good junior high program. So
we did. We had a couple guys move out of town. We had a kid who was a freshman this year move. He had 30 touchdowns his 8th grade year. He was a military family, so that was a big loss. But we've got an 8th grader coming up who actually broke his touchdown record as an 8th grader. I think he ended up with 31, 32, something like that. And so Koopa is going to be
Koopa?
Yeah, his name's Koopa, not Cooper. Koopa Mujaruki. He's gonna carry the ball for us. Probably receive a little bit for us as well. Hopefully he can slide in and do some tackling on defense as a freshman too. That's always the hard part. I found that you can stick guys in on offense pretty quickly when they're young, but defense is a different story.
yeah, especially in 6-man.
Oh yeah, when you have to tackle in open space.
Yes, it's a
yeah.
bunch of space. So fundamentals, understanding angles, how to break down, those type of things
Right.
come in play. With this group that you guys have coming, will you be able to do some of the same similar things, or will you guys have to kind of change up a little bit of what you guys do?
Yeah, it's funny. We've been in workouts for a few weeks now, and we haven't talked to the guys about any of that stuff yet. And this morning they finally asked, "What are we going to do next year? What kind of offense are we going to run?"
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to try to do the same thing. It's going to look the same, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you mentioned that target on you guys back, and you lost 6 seniors.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it going to be? I mean, you guys may not go 13-0, but how are you going to talk to your younger kids about developing throughout the season to, that each game matters, but we're going to try to get to the playoffs and make a
Sure.
run in the playoffs?
Yeah, those guys will tell you, even the ones that graduated, we had this thing for a while since we made that run in 2020 in the semis that one day we're going to play for a state title. So why not this Friday? So every Friday was a state title game for us, and that's how we're just going to roll with it. I mean, you were there in the locker room. We didn't give a speech before the game. There was no. I didn't say anything that, changed the outcome of the game. It was another Friday for us. So hopefully that's the thing we take into this year is there's no pressure, just another state title that we got to play on week 1.
So what, 12, 13 state titles?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, that going into that game, it didn't feel any different than any other game, except for, I will say, when we walked out of the locker room and it was go time, that's when you kind of felt like, okay, this is kind of different.
Who are you? So who's of course, with such a big senior class, who are you guys going to lean on this year probably to step into more of that leadership role and captain role on the team?
Yeah, we have since that freshman group that's going to be sophomores was so big, there was already some natural born leaders in that group, and they kind of had to take a back seat because they had so many seniors and so many leaders. But Luke Pankenine, our center, is already going to be a captain. We let the kids vote on captains. I can already tell you he's going to be voted as one. And then Kaysen is going to step up, and he's been more vocal 4 years playing quarterback. He's never been like the guy on the team. He's always had another dude that was in front of him. Now he's kind of the man, so his voice is being heard a lot this summer.
Yeah, and it's crazy how the younger kids look up to the older kids.
It's crazy because those kids that are freshmen this year, they were ball boys for these guys. They know each other. They eat lunch together. Like in the same cafeteria, there's going to be a fourth grader and there's going to be a freshman at the table beside them. You coming to my game tonight? Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
It's fun.
So let's jump into your schedule this year. You want to?
Got it pulled up.
Do I?
Yeah.
No. Do you?
I'm gonna have to pull it up.
That's fine. That's fine.
Right.
No worries. Yeah. So go through your district or your non-district schedule.
Sure.
Maybe if you have certain games that you thought, or reason why you put them on there.
Yeah. So before we get into that, I just asked this question, and this is for me. I guess I'm asking for myself. The 6-man, the type of schedule that you guys play, it can change year to year, or does it stay the same? How does that normally work?
It's supposed to be just like UIL, where it's a 2-year agreement. But after the year we had a lot of guys back out on us. Now there was some schools that grew district wise, and they had to replace us, kicked us out. But yeah, we had some cancellations, so we scooped up as many games as we could early. And there's some challenging games in there because of that, but that's all right. It'll just make us better for district.
All right, so let's hear that non-district and then go into the district schedule.
Yeah, so non-district, it looks like we're starting again with Amarillo San Jacinto. They're coming to us. They're big, strong, and physical. They gave us all we wanted last year, but they were a good test. Forestburg, Coach Roller over there. We've played each other for 6 years in a row now. We even scrimmage against each other, so we know what to expect out of them. They're going to fight hard the whole game. And then we got KPA again.
So y'all got them, the team that y'all.
Yeah. So Coach Griff over there.
How'd that go? How'd that conversation start?
Yeah. So Coach Griff, we haven't beat KPA ever in my 6 years here until this past year. They were in our same district, and then we finally got them, in the playoffs. And then we had a cancellation, looking for games, posted it, and
he
jumped all over it. Why wouldn't he? He wants his payback. He called. He was like, "How bad do you want to play?" And I was like, "I need a game. I don't really want to play somebody I might see in the playoffs, but I understand where you're coming from too. You need a game, so let's just do it. We know each other. We know what to expect. We have respect for each other. Kids respect each other. There's never anything, so let's just do it. We know what we're going to get out of the game. It's going to be here. Yeah.
Dang, let's get that at Memorial Stadium.
I know, yeah, that would be
a
fun.
highlight.
Hey,
that's week 3.
1, 2, yep, that's week 3.
Set it up. Let's get them a different field, please. Come on.
Yep.
Let's move it to Burke or something. Coach Williams.
I think the thing is why they play at the Boys and Girls Club, because it's already set up. That middle field set for 6-man football.
Field dimension.
Yeah, because for the field dimension.
Yeah, I know, but it's crappy out there.
We can fix that. We can fix the turf.
Yeah,
field pretty quick.
changed. They changed Waco Field into a. So I mean, I understand it's all.
I've been saying for years that if they don't turf any fields out there at the Boys and Girls Club, that middle field should be turfed. But I mean, the city got to get on board too.
They're just not very good.
Nah, it's horrible. If you,
I'll be honest. Let's get Coach Seth Nolan and his boys a good field for week 3. What date? What's the date?
September 12th.
September 12th. Let's do it. All right, go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
Couldn't tell you anything about Eden. Meeting them in Abilene. Eden?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be y'all's first time playing meeting?
Yeah. This is the first time we've played them probably in school history. I don't know anything about them. Meeting them halfway.
Okay, so
that was a replacement game.
So you just put it out there and they said they wanted to play?
Yeah.
So everybody's wanting a piece of Wichita Christian. Yeah, that's sad, but that's what it is.
Baptism by fire, but that's what happens.
No, that is what happens. Yeah, that's part of it.
Yep.
So yeah,
you expect it.
Yep. Newcastle after that.
Another big one.
Yeah, Fannondale. We got to go to Fannondale. I think that's like a 4 or 5 hour bus ride.
Is that district or non-district?
That is non-district.
So you have 6 non-district?
So that goes back to 2 years ago when we had an agreement in place, a 2-year agreement in place, and then they canceled last minute. So somebody did it to them. So we kind of And we're in the same boat as them. And we just said, you want to make the drive one year, we'll make the drive the next. And I said, okay. So,
and that like you said, that's the problem of you, or not just you guys, but when you become a winning program, or as you guys did, ran the table last year, the cancellation of games. And people don't understand how hard it is as a coach to find it because, well, why are we playing this team? Why are we going 5 hours away? Because nobody in an hour or two radius wants to play it.
Yeah, and it's stressful because you don't know how many other teams are left out there. And a lot of these, so a lot of people like to pick and choose their games and teams and stuff. Well, we're more concerned with just filling a schedule at that point.
Yeah.
When people,
Yeah,
It'd be
you gotta
nice
have
if
a
they.
game.
It would be nice if they could. If TAPS, UIL, kind of like how the NFL makes schedules, if they could kind of come out, have something like that. That way, teams can't dodge each other.
well, you're supposed to sign an agreement.
Yeah.
You're supposed to sign a contract, but I've never done that before.
Yes,
Yeah.
people be like, "Hey,
Your
man,
word is your bond.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I said I was playing this shit, but never mind. Y'all want state, man. We
Yeah.
can't be getting embarrassed by the state.
Yeah, you
champs.
can only imagine how that was for you to
Yeah.
all those teams gone,
Yeah.
all those 65 zeros gone.
We,
all
we
those-
had 5 games at one point this year, scheduled. Yeah, it was stressful.
And you're on the other hand saying, I don't have those guys back.
Exactly.
So they're like, yeah. So
They're like, okay,
we
never
want a
mind. Yeah,
rematch.
we'll
It's like,
play you
you
now.
know, I lost all my guys.
Yeah.
We should just, but no, I mean, I think that what it sounds like, if you got that good of an 8th grade class coming up, I mean, I don't, obviously for me on the outside looking in, I can have expectations, but what are your expectations for this season? It's hard to compare to the perfect 13.
Let him get his district games in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah, district games. We'll start there.
Yeah, that's so Prairie Valley is our last non-district game. They're going to have football this year. I don't know if they ever have before in the past, but not since I've been back in Wichita have they had football.
Not in a long.
Right.
Not since I've been here.
Right.
I didn't even know they had. I didn't know they played
I don't
sports.
even know who they are.
I didn't
Prairie
know they played.
Valley's, they're pretty good at basketball normally.
Where is that located?
Prairie Valley is over by St. Joe and Nakona. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's in between.
Yeah.
Like, so it's St. Joe, Prairie Valley.
I'm about to say,
Nakona.
because I figured out, I think I remember.
Yeah, you got to
seeing
go.
the name
Driving
of it.
through
It's-
there?
yeah, you blink, you'll miss it.
Yeah.
I really
That's
do.
one of them towns.
Yeah.
Huh.
And that's our last tune-up before district. Then we got Azle, Christian, and then Waco Valor.
Still two team district.
Still, it's
3-team.
With them,
team.
3 with them. Yeah.
Yeah, 3-team district.
So one person don't get in, the other 2 are in.
Yeah, it makes it fun, but it also makes it where you can't screw up. You know what I mean? Like one time and you're done. Waco Valor is going to be tough. They didn't graduate anybody, made it all the way to the semis.
They were the other playoff team in your district.
They were the other playoff team in our district. Yep.
Yeah, they'll be solid.
They're going to be solid. They're going to be good.
So people have you guys circled. Is there a game on your schedule that you have circled?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. No.
Every Friday.
We honestly we have
There you go.
We have the first day of 2 days scheduled just to see what we have.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting.
I think the game that probably
That
Coach
we like. Yeah.
Well, Coach Arch is going to definitely want to get his
there
lick
we
back.
go.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games because I think coming into the season they were predicted to be a pretty solid group, pretty good team.
Got hit with the injury bug.
He did. Yeah.
Injury bug, but you guys took it to him a little bit, so his kids are naturally going to wake up and be ready to go for that. I'm anxious to see how the outcome of that game because I think he graduated a lot as well last year, so it'll be a good youthful game. So it'll be something to see.
Yeah, I'm excited about the young kids you're talking about and seeing how they mix in with the kids who've had a couple or a year or two of playing time. That center you guys got, I can understand why he's the captain or he'll be a captain. He's a pretty vocal, seemed like a good kid, strong. But, man, I had a blast covering you guys and watching y'all win the state championship.
One thing we haven't covered yet. What does your football program mean to the community?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna
Because
get.
winning state is a big deal. So what has that done for the culture of Wichita Christian and the community that's around you guys?
Yeah, it was fun, hearing from people that you hadn't heard from in a while, reaching out to you. I kind of joked with my wife that week after we won that semifinal game and got to the state final, I was like, you might need to take off work if we ever do this again because there's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone's reaching out, wanting a minute of your time, and then they want to talk to the kids, and you've got to do this meeting to get ready and all this stuff. But yeah, it was fun hearing from everybody, and you know, once we got back to town, you know, there was the fire trucks waiting for us and all that, and they invited us to the parade, and that was fun, and everybody was cheering, and yeah, it was a good time. It was fun.
For sure, memories.
Yeah,
memories that
absolutely.
the kids that are create. You know, these guys, they'll never understand. You know,
here we go.
the feeling of winning a state title. We you know, we have something in common now because these guys here, they're average Joes as we call them. Never won state before, but
Anyways, all right.
but I will say that being in a smaller school, being able to say, they have something to brag on. They're the only team in Wichita this year in football in the Wichita County that won state. So that's something that they can. Smaller, big school, it doesn't matter. That's something that these kids that they know that go to some of the bigger schools, they can still hold that over their heads. That's just something that's pretty cool for them to be able to experience. From my standpoint, and just being able to say that we had somebody in our, that's one thing that we all get excited about. We're able to say, yeah, we had a state champion. Who? Wichita Christian. Nobody can take nothing away from that. Because once you start talking about winning state, I think people they talk about it, but they lose the classification part. Mm-hmm. People forget about, they were 5A, they were 6A. They just remember them as being a state champ. So that's something that's pretty cool for those kids to be able to just be called state champions.
For sure.
Yeah, so let's move into when I jumped the gun a little earlier about what are your expectations as the head coach for this year, knowing who you have coming, who you lost, all of that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I expect them to work as hard as they've been working. I don't think that slacks off, of course. Just expect them to keep doing what they've been doing. You know, just because some guys graduate doesn't change your mentality, your work ethic, what your goals are as an individual, and those individual goals are going to transfer over to the team goals, right? So I would hope that they have the same mindset. They're not; those kids aren't stupid. They know what we lost, you know, and they know it's going to be hard to replace that. But they also like the challenge of just because we didn't play doesn't mean we're not good. We weren't good either. We had a bunch of studs in front of us, but you don't know if we're studs yet or not. So let's go out and prove it. But I think there's a couple kids that we haven't even talked about that I think they're going to surprise some people. You were with us. I bet, you know, there's some kids with some size that didn't get into the game.
Yep.
That you would have probably just walked up and said, hey, what position does that kid play? He's going to have a good game tonight. So the kid didn't even touch the field.
Yeah.
So we have some kids with a lot to prove. So I hope they stay hungry and motivated.
So, yeah, that hunger, I think, is going to be good for them as well.
Yeah.
How's summer workout going so far?
It's been nice. I'm trying to think of who all's. So Pankanine hasn't missed a day. Kaysen maybe missed one or two. So our core is there. Our freshman and sophomore core is there. We've got 2 kids that are seniors. One might play football. One will play football. Neither one of them have been there. But besides that freshman and sophomore bunch are there every single day. And junior high participation has been increasing a lot as well, too.
I think that just being in that school program alone, and now that you got a state championship, it's like, let's go do it. Like that motivates the kids moving into that position, like you just mentioned.
I mean, summer workout today, we had Pankanine's trying to tell a 6th grader, you know, hey, you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way. And that kid just looked at him and was like, hey, kid won state. I think he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's kind of like to what you're saying. It's just kind of nice to, he's done it before.
So I guess my question is going to be, was that the first state championship for Wichita Christian?
I think an individual won it in golf before.
Okay.
Way back when.
But first time for football.
Yeah, football for sure.
Okay.
The first time for a team sport.
So I guess like this is I would say that this is probably a lot of pressure on you and your staff. Like, do you want? I mean, obviously, you don't want to be the one and done, as they say.
Right.
You know, you don't want to win state and then, turn back
Sure,
and
yeah.
turn away. So, are you taking any, I guess, steps or anything into the direction of saying, hey, we won state, we're going to go back, or we're going to, at least make a push for it again next year. Like, we're going to turn this into perennial.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? I mean, that's what we want to do. The year before last, we won 8 games and got hit by the injury bug late in the season, where I think we would have had a shot to go, that year too. We ran into Longview and got injured again. But anyways, yeah, that's something that we've talked about is how long can we sustain this? And I think if that sophomore bunch can stay together, we were talking the other day, it's fun because we can do the math. These 7th graders going to be with these 9th graders one day.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were looking at it the other day and we're like, hey, once the 7th grader bunch gets to be up there with y'all as seniors, we're going to have a second one. We're going to have a shot at getting a second one. So just keep that in the back of your head. So
Yeah, that's always the key of having groups. I think everybody kind of, as coaches, especially when you know that you have a certain junior high feed into your program, you kind of look at groups. Kind of look from your 7th graders and you kind of track what's below them. Some coaches are even able the luxury of smaller communities. You can kind of go look at the little leagues and be like, okay, these are the potential and things like that. So the hard part sometimes for Wichita Christian is you guys are a private school and kind of, you have these different things like this going on. But do you think with all of the new laws and things that are being passed now for private schools, do you guys think there's a possibility you guys could get some surplus of kids wanting to transfer in to Wichita Christian?
yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that the success we had would, generate some excitement around our athletic program. And the girls' side, honestly, is taking off as well, too. So there's a lot going on and look forward to on the girls' side. Just hired a volleyball coach, Madison Harris. Well, Madison Peck. She just got married. It's one of my former football players at Wichita Christian. She went to 2 semifinals as a player for us.
She played football?
She played for volleyball.
Okay.
And now, so
I was
yeah, no.
That's what I thought you said too.
But
I was like,
so I think that's kind of her mentality, is trying to get back to state as a coach.
For sure. So I'm going to wrap it up for me. This is my last question. Of course, I got to end on a big old special.
All right.
So on your state drive, for you guys on your run for state, I guess it's a twofold question. I got to bring the twofolds back. What was your meal that you guys had the night before the state championship game? Do you remember what meal you had?
Man, no, I can't, honestly.
And
It
then
was such a blur.
and then I guess the second part of it was, what was the meal that the kids, because you guys had to travel, what was something that they were able to eat before the game and after the game?
We stopped at Buc-ee's afterwards. That was a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
So we got home late.
Buc-ee's.
Yeah, late.
Sponsor
that
the show.
Right? Yeah, that'd be nice. No, we stayed up. I remember going to bed at like 4:00 that night. We had stayed up and watched the game as a team. It ended, and I just started off to bed. It was cool. We got to stay in like a ranch house on a property. We were all together under one roof, so that was cool. But no, they asked, "Hey, what's the move in the morning?" And I was like, "There's a Buc-ee's like an hour away. That's the move." And they're like, "Yeah, done."
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I don't think they
Sandwich.
went. I don't think they went to sleep until they got on the bus. Had to wake them up to eat, and they went back to sleep.
what's a Buc-ee's go-to?
The Club Melt.
That's the
thing.
new one.
I think it's
I've had it.
underrated. I think it's underrated.
Yeah, it's underrated. It's new.
He said it's
new-ish.
underrated.
No, it is. That mud hit. That mud.
I don't like the new Buc-ee's, by the way. Like,
What you mean a new
New
Buc-ee's?
Buc-ee's.
like how now, remember you can go in, you can type your order in. Now it's all just pre-made, right?
Man, that's fast. There's so
Nah,
many
I don't
people
want that.
in
I
there.
want to be able to pick what I
Nah,
want to eat.
but you still can get the strips and
It's right
stuff like
there.
that.
Yeah, but it's just there. I want to be able to
Yeah.
go type it in at the kiosk.
You wasting time, bro. They want to turn this food around.
Okay, my last question, and we'll put last season to bed, as I'm sure you've tried to do, and move on. How maybe refreshing or nerve-wracking is it going to be to start over with a new bunch? Like you said, 2 years ago, you saw, hey, we have the chance and then last year you guys finally did it. But now those guys have graduated. So how like I said, refreshing of nerve-wracking and maybe exciting is this season going to be with a whole new cast of characters?
Yeah, so we were just talking about that as coaches the other day. Like, yeah, we lost all these dudes, but we've got a nice core coming back. We've got pieces. People aren't going to expect us to do much, so that's going to be fun. But it's also going to be challenging because you don't have to take anything away from teams we played last year, but there were some times when it just wasn't challenging. So it's going to be fun to have that, competitive spirit going into games. Like, we're going to go into every game not knowing if we're going to win. And so that's going to be fun. Whereas last year we knew we were going to win some of those games we went into. But yeah, it's exciting to know that we get to play a part. Where at some games last year, it didn't matter who was on the sideline. Just let those 6 guys go out there and do their thing. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
All right, and lastly for me, just to touch on your schedule, and a lot of coaches do this. We talked to them all, all last year. It's a complete change, your pre-district schedule this year compared to last year. So, and you've already touched on it, that schedule is going to make you stronger.
Yeah.
So it's realistic to say you may not be completely undefeated moving into the playoffs, but that's the goal, is to get beat up, learn from it, get better, and then make that push in the playoffs.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'd just say good luck again. We're close by. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. I'll be around with my camera. I love watching you guys play. Maybe we can get a new field for a couple of their games, maybe. That's better lighting for my camera. But other than that, we appreciate you coming on the show. Do you have anything else for us?
No, thanks, guys. Thanks for all you guys do. Appreciate it.
All right, and thanks again for letting us host the All-Star game at your gym.
Oh, yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
I haven't billed y'all for that goal yet. I need to do that.
Yeah,
If he
who
wasn't
was
there.
it that was climbing up there?
you
He
wasn't
didn't want his
there.
name known, did he?
Yeah,
Were you there when he was like, "Don't tell him my name"?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't hear that. I went over there and I was looking how the structure, and then I started remembering how I've seen those goals fall, and they swing forward like this, and all those people were standing right there, and I was like,
Yeah, because
I gotta get out.
I think because they had it so low, it was gonna go backwards. It wasn't gonna go forward.
And homie was standing on top of it, yanking it. It was just like, and it was just rocking.
It was sketchy.
Hey,
But we
what he
appreciate
did-
you for doing that.
I'm just glad
he
you
was from
turned your
here,
blind eye, or turned a blind eye, because I was like, if this doesn't start working, bro, this is shut down. We just, because what could have happened?
Yeah, we
we play with a crooked goal. I don't know.
Play
I
half
think,
court.
Half court. Yeah, that would have been like.
We need a
Park.
contingency plan for next time.
So I think that shout out to the dad, that did
Dads.
do that for that. It was, the handyman group is what we're gonna call them. It was a bunch of people.
We should have them on the show.
Yeah, we need to. Bob the Builders is what we're gonna call them.
If you were one of the ones that helped us, comment, subscribe, let us know, because we're going to bring you on the show. All right, Coach. Appreciate you. And good luck this season. Let us know if you need anything.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.